Okay, guys, so we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly editor-in-chief today, because today we are going to be kicking off a mini-campaign playing Marvel Comics' excellent Marvel Multiverse Role-Playing Game. And we are going to be using that to play a series that we're calling Uncanny X Factor. And the name of our first arc or first campaign is going to be Apocalypse Agenda. And joining us for the Apocalypse Agenda as part of our Uncanny X Factor series are these stars of the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. I'm going to go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing in this campaign. First up, we've got Robert.
Hi, I'm Robert. I'm playing Colossus, alias Piotr or Pete, if I like you, and I happen to like a lot of people, so call me Pete.
Very nice. Next up is John.
Everyone, I am John, and I am playing the heartthrob and dealer of explosive card death Gambit.
Very nice, very nice. Next up is Darren.
Yeah, I'm Darren. I'm playing Robert Drake, probably best known as Bobby to his friends, and most commonly for any Marvel fans, Iceman.
Very nice. Next up is Jaden.
Hello, I am Jaden, and I am playing North Star today, also known as Jean-Paul Boubier, and I'm looking forward to getting in some Marvel fun today.
Very nice. Also, I guess fits our Canadian content too, because North Star is Canadian.
Yeah,
And
there you go.
Last, but certainly not least, is Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm playing Havoc today. And I brought some show and tell because Havoc, although not traditionally one of the core X-Men, because he was never really featured as one of the things, he was always one of my favorite X-Men. And some of my favorite X-Men comics are ones that feature Havoc. And I have some really beautiful issues.
Very nice. That's all Mark Silvestri art too.
Yeah, they're real nice. This series here. This is when I was really big into the X-Men.
And there's Genosha.
Havoc was a big part of it. Yeah. So
we were talking about Genosha before we went live.
There you
so
go.
Excellent. Well, that is awesome. I did not know that you liked Havoc that much. That's fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, that's why I put him down as my top choice.
Love it. Okay, so guys, our we talked before we went live, and one of the cool things with the Marvel role-playing game is you can kind of pick what elements and what period you want to be playing in. We're playing a mutant super team, and one of the assumptions we're making is that this is during the Krakoa era. One difference in our version of the Marvel Universe from the Krakoa era is that either the oldest or one of the oldest mutants, En Sabah Nur, who you might know better as Apocalypse, has never taken part in the Krakoa project. In the comics themselves, it's mutants, good and bad, evil and, benevolent, who all took part in the Krakoa project. He is not part of that. One of the things they did, I mentioned before we went live, is they made use of Krakoa, a kind of island-sized mutant, and teleportation abilities that they had to be able to set up embassies across the world, and they also were able to relocate. As long as you had one of the Krakoa flowers, you would be able to create a gateway and transport. As an example, Havoc, your brother gave your father, who is the captain of the Starjammers. They gave him a flower that he could grow on their ship so that they could visit back home and on Earth and with the other Summers kids as often as they wanted. It also meant that because they could teleport anywhere, they could choose to build their homes anywhere. And one of the things that Cyclops decided was, well, if you can build it anywhere, why not build your house on the moon? And so they did. The Summers residence is located on the moon. And that includes all of the Summers brothers and extended family. Scott Summers, aka Cyclops, yourself, and I can't remember what Vulcan's secret identity is, but Vulcan is just sort of like the secret third brother. The Summers have a bunch of secret third brothers. We're not going to talk about Adam the Extreme in this, but what's important is that this is where you are. And at this time, there are X-Men teams, there is a X-Force, and there's different people working in different capacities to assist with sort of the Krakoa project and the Mutant Nation. Havoc, you are not.
Yeah.
We find you, the yellow editor's note would say 1 month ago. And Havoc, you hear sort of the chime that would notify you in the Summers residence that someone's at your door. What will we find you doing, do we think?
Well, he's a geologist, I believe. And so, I don't know, probably studying something in his study. He's very into his work and sort of tries to stay out of the X troubles, so to speak. So
one of the things, if I may, one of the interesting things is that there are certain rocks that are found on the moon that support a theory of a impact that split the moon off from the Earth. So perhaps living on the moon, if you are a geologist, there may be ways that you're picking up some of that stuff and analyzing, that stuff to prove that theory.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. Yeah, so he's studying moon rocks, basically. You would find them. And
yeah. So you're looking at this stuff, and they come, and when the door opens, it's Scott.
Oh.
And he says, Alex,
Scott?
I have a moment of your time.
Always.
What is it he looks over at your displays. Are you rock collecting?
Yeah, doing a little research.
Well, I wanted to talk to you. I know that we've tried offering you and finding a position for you in the various teams that we have operating, and you've made your wishes clear to not be part of any of those at present. What you would remember, Havoc, is that you actually led at least 2 teams in recent history. One of them was the second X Factor team, when X Factor worked for the US government, replacing their previous mutant super team called Freedom Force. And you also were the leader of the Avengers Unity Squad. And that was a combination of members of the Avengers and members of the X-Men that was designed to try and raise the public opinion of mutants by working with sort of the premier Marvel super team.
Makes sense, yeah.
Both ended not great.
No, I have a history of things not going great.
So Scott comes and looks at the rocks, and he's kind of looking them over, not sure what he's looking at necessarily. And he says, Alex, I've been thinking a lot about X Factor because we've both got connections with him. X Factor, me, Bobby, Warren, Hank, Gene. Gene came back the first time. We set up X Factor and made a lot of mistakes. The intent was to provide a way to do what Charles has always wanted. A way of protecting mutants and showing humans that we can help. It was a tough time, but when isn't it a tough time for mutants? And it didn't work out. And then you took over. And your X Factor worked with the government. And then when that didn't work out, Madrox and his team set up X Factor investigations. And I've been thinking about that a lot. Alex, what Charles, Eric, and I would like is for you to lead a new team of X Factor. Something that takes the lessons we learned from those previous teams, but make something that is different. We want to show humans that while we are not them, that we are not their enemies, and that we have shared problems. We also want to work as a liaison with, if not governments directly, with international governments. SHIELD. And looks at your moon rocks. I think the mandate is something that may be more, because it's going to be investigative, like Madrox's team. It's going to be into the weird stuff. X Factor will not be a fixed team. Really just picked the name, to be honest, because Bobby liked it and because it had the X in it. I think accidentally we thought of something that is important, particularly for the types of problems that you'll be investigating. Rather than a fixed roster, we make a pitch to the entire group. Over the years, we've all worked with each other at one time or another, so pretty much everyone will know one another. And it allows you to tailor the team for what you need. Temporary secondments from other teams, or drawing in specialty where needed. Find the X factor for what is needed, for whatever your investigation is. Puts the rocks down once again, pulls up a chair and sits down. I know that you don't want to be part of a team again. You're a natural leader. That part of you is wasted. Why not take any gestures to the rocks? This investigation, let's help out the planet. You can't make eye contact with him, of course, because all you have is that visor.
Yeah, his visor. Scott, I just need something from you. Tell me this is something you need me to do.
There's a bit of a smile that comes to Slim Summers' face. He says, Alex, I need you.
Then I'm in.
And if you turn the page, you would see hovering above the blue globe of the Earth is a massive space station, starship, who knows? It looks like a sword, and our panel would define it as Damocles' base. Havoc, you are walking along with another individual that you know. Forge.
Oh, yeah.
Forge is for those who are not familiar, Forge is the X-Men sort of resident inventor and tech genius. Forge's mutant power is creating. He's walking along, and he says, it's quite the impressive sight from the shuttle, isn't it?
Very impressive.
This isn't... Well, this is and this isn't the same base that Kang used when he conquered the Earth. Richards explained it to me. There's some time wrinkle that allowed them to pull it out before Kang's base has been destroyed. But this came out, and the duplicate has no other use. And so this seemed the appropriate pairing for what you'll be doing in your team and what your liaison will be.
It's quite the acquisition, Forge. I'm impressed.
I mean, it's not every one of us who gets to have a time-traveling spaceship as their headquarters, but, you know, we all have our crosses.
Yes.
Door opens, and it leads into kind of a briefing chamber where we would see our 4 other members of this incarnation of X Factor. So what would we see? To give context, Colossus and Gambit have definitely served on a team together. Colossus, you're aware... No, you've also served on a team with Bobby. Northstar is a mutant. He and his twin sister, who also goes by Aurora, have typically been part of Alpha Flight, although they sometimes appear in the background in things. He also, when Northstar got married, it was in the pages of X-Men rather than Alpha Flight because he's a mutant. And to be honest, I don't know if Alpha Flight was being published at that time. But what will we see everyone doing in this?
You see Gambit showing Colossus's newest card trick, and looking over like, look who finally arrived.
Okay, so Gambit's playing around with cards. Or the rest of the team. Oh, Robert, you're muted.
Yeah, you're muted, buddy.
Yep. Colossus is watching Gambit's card trick with interest, although he's looking at his hands and saying, says, I think I need bigger cards to try to pull that off.
So, if you're not fair, how much do you know? How much do you know about Colossus, Robert?
Not much. I did a quick refresh right before.
Okay, awesome.
A quick check right beforehand, but I know he's basically an immigrant, but he's came from a farm, saved his sister before he had powers, but he is fairly big, or he's not.
He's a big dude in his
not,
normal form, and then he also can transform into organic steel. Yeah, perfect.
Big old Russian farm boy. So
absolutely, that's awesome. That's awesome. I wasn't sure if you knew how his powers worked. Okay, what about Bobby and Jean-Paul?
I think Bobby is renowned for being a bit of a jokester, a bit of a kidder. So I think while Gambit's trying to show off his tricks, he'll be doing something stupid behind his back, putting some sort of rabbit ears behind his head or something, and just trying to make Colossus laugh. Just being a general. I'm
not sure if it fits with the whole cold and winter thing too, but Jean-Paul is a Olympic champion downhill skier.
Okay.
As well, quite famous for it as well. A guy who moves super fast and can fly, who's also a champion skier. There may be a question as to whether there was some cheating involved, but that's never really addressed. I mean, it's referenced in some of the other comics. But what about Jean-Paul?
I think Jean-Paul is just sitting in the corner of eyeshot in the background as the card trick goes on, and he's reading the most recent magazine of Olympic skiing.
Nice. Okay, great. So you walk in, Havoc, and this specific team has been brought together. You can also see that there is a sort of a there's something that you guys would come to realize or recognize. It's like a portable holographic unit. It's something that if you're having people conferenced in, it allows them to sort of be virtually present here in the meeting. So Havoc, this is your first. So for the entire team, this is the first time you guys have all been brought together, and Havoc's the first time working with this incarnation of the of X Factor. So first team, first mission. And once you walk in, Forge heads over to the kind of holographic thing. He fiddles around with it a little bit. He looks over at you, Alex, and says, "Are you ready?"
I'm ready.
Right. He turns the holographic machine on, and then there is an image of an individual who I think some of you, or maybe most of you, would recognize. Richards. So he appears, and he is in the lab coat, as he is in this illustration, and he seems to be in the middle of something. Like you can see there's a big, oversized kind of lens in one of his eyes, and his hand's stretching over to get into some kind of machine. He looks up and says, "Oh, forgive me. Is it already 10 o'clock? I'm sorry. You have my undivided attention. Just give me a moment." And just everything kind of moves over, and he puts things down, and then he stretches back into his normal shape, and the machine he was working on disappears out of the holographic images. Thank you, Mr. Summers. So, X Factor. I am going to provide... I've been asked by Mr. Summers to provide some context for the problem that we are hoping you can assist with. We have matters that are elsewhere that are drawing the Fantastic Four's attention. Otherwise, this would be something I would be particularly interested in. And I should mention as well, this is a mission not to undercut the competency of your team, Mr. Summers, but this is something I would have asked for assistance from Blue Marvel's Ultimates. But they appear to be off-planet, and we have lost contact with them. So the Ultimates, you guys would know. Here, going left to right, it's Black Panther, T'Challa. It is, well... Okay, so that's Monica Rambeau, who has gone by Captain Marvel and Photon, and she's had a number of different code names. I think Photon is what her current, or maybe it's Quasar? No, it's Photon, I think. Monica Rambeau. Blue Marvel is in the center. I can't remember. It's Eric something or other, I think is his code name. Ms. America, America Chavez, and Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. They are kind of like if you think of the kind of like weird cosmic shit that Doctor Who might deal with, or like some of the more extreme Fantastic Four issues, that's what the Ultimates deal with. The Ultimates like converted Galactus from a force of destruction and death into a force of life. That's the scale of things the Ultimates deal with. You would be aware of that, I think, to one degree or another. This is a problem, getting back to Reed, that we would have called on the Ultimates to deal with. Unfortunately, I've lost contact with them, and given the scale of their threat, they may be out of the universe or perhaps out of the multiverse, but nevertheless. Tell me, what do you know of? And he hits a button, and there's a image display that comes up. The Celestials.
Ancient.
Perhaps I will not be repeating myself. Celestials is what we call them. We are not certain if they have names for themselves as a collective, though we know that they have names for, or what we would call names for each other. They are a host that is older than the universe as it exists. Indeed, we think they may be older than the multiverse. Laymen may call them space gods, though they are quite different from the Asgardians, Olympians, and other manifestations of earthly religion that we have encountered. I'm sure all of you have met Thor at one time or another. The Celestials are older than all of them, and one of the functions that they undertake or are assigned, it is unclear, but nevertheless, what the Celestials do is that they arrive on planets at various points in their history, and they conduct experimentations on them. These typically follow a fairly unique process, and that same process was followed on our Earth roughly 1 million years ago, in a time that they refer to as the first host. At the time, and he hits a button, and there's a very realistic display that shows Celestials visit a planet in 4 hosts. The first came to Earth before there were men upon it, but they did find our common ancestor who became the subject of their experiments. One of the common outcomes of their experiments is to divide the subject species into 3 groups. So it went on ours. We, for convention's sake, make use of the same divisions. There is the baseline species, the humans, in our case, that evolved from these hominids, and within the humans is where we see the possibility for both the X gene that leads to mutants and the possibility of the wide variety of mutations or mutates that we see, whether that be by exposure to radioactive spider, to gamma bombs, or, and he stretches his arm up, in my case, cosmic rays. It allows the human baseline to have a standard evolutionary process, but also allow for unexpected diversions in very specific instances. The other 2 species, Deviants and the Eternals, are what we also see on other planets visited by the Celestials. The Eternals are... Have any of you dealt with any of the Eternals? Actually, comics-wise, I can't remember. If I did a quick search, I'm not sure if any of you guys have really dealt with them. It's usually the Fantastic Four or the Avengers who deal with the Eternals. But it's quite possible that you have. You would likely be aware of who they are, though. The Eternals are kind of like engineered gods. They have the kind of ability to manipulate power at the same scale as, say, the Heralds of Galactus. So the Silver Surfer, Fire Lord, Nova, Airwalker, Terrax. Unbelievably powerful things, but every single one of them. The Eternals are perfected and ascended to godhood. And again, this is found on any planet visited by the Celestials. The other, final, are the Deviants. The Deviants are the potential for change and unexpected expression of genes within the baseline humans, but in every variety. There is no consistency in physiognomy, or powers, or size between any of the deviants. It is an entire species of chaos and wondrous, unexpected expression. While I have not laid eyes on it, Icarus of the Eternals tells me that early in the history of humankind, the deviants, it seems, had a unfortunate history with baseline humanity. The Eternals, you see, were far too powerful for the Deviants to take any steps against, but against baseline humans, well, it was a very unfortunate history. So Lemuria, the first kingdom of the Deviants, was founded on the backs of human slaves. You may be asking, those who are curious, why? Why would the Celestials do this? We don't precisely know why, but what we know is that they judge their results, and they come in hosts to implement their experiments and, like any good scientist, to check in on them. And so with the second host, the Celestials returned and they checked on their progress of their experiment. Seeing that the Deviants had turned to dominating humankind, breeding so extensively that as to potentially choke out the baseline of humanity, Celestials were displeased. And while we cannot confirm this, Icarus tells me that flood myths that have been passed down through humankind, all of those date from the wrath of the second host, when they destroyed Lemuria, shattered the deviant empire, and sent them to the bottom of the ocean. The Deviants never saw ascent once again, and since that time, the Eternals have taken it upon themselves to prevent that from ever recurring. So the Deviants have continue to exist. 1/3 of the legacy of humanity, at least of our shared ancestor, hidden in secret places, underground, and the tops of mountains, and otherwise concealed, even under the ocean in some cases. The Eternals, the Deviants, baseline humanity. That was the plan of the Celestials. We, only in this modern era, came to learn the truth of this, in part through connections with other species, in part through misadventures in time travel, and in part due to expanded connections with the Eternals themselves, and at times unfortunate encounters with the Celestials. You would all remember that there was a time when the Celestials came back in the modern era for their fourth host. That did not result in the destruction. That is the other thing, I suppose, Reed would probably mention, is that at the end of all of this testing, if the host deems their experiment unsuccessful, they eliminate all traces of it.
Ooh.
There are planets raised of life that lay testament to unsuccessful air experiments by the Celestials. Fortunately, humankind has demonstrated itself as worthy of continuing. Reed kind of stops and looks back at you guys. Have you any questions at this point? Or is this a refresher? Good. And he then hits another button. Tell me, how many of you know these individuals? I think most of you mutants would know them. These are the Inhumans. More to the point, this is representatives of the royal family of the Inhumans.
They live on the moon.
Tell me, so if your characters would know who some of these individuals are, and like the lead character there in black, that's Black Bolt. To the bottom left, that is Medusa, his wife. To the right of him, the big fella, that's Gorgon. Above Gorgon, the green fella is Triton. directly above Black Bolt is Karnak, the master of breaking. Nudged between the two of them is Crystal, who was a former girlfriend of the Human Torch. And then the very best Marvel character is right below Gorgon. That is Lockjaw, the teleporting giant bulldog. Your characters would know who they are. Reed says, tell me, do you know how the Inhumans relate to the Celestials' experimentation?
I think Gamp would probably say they're probably the other the humans in the devolved guys, the peak that they're actually searching for.
Top of the class, Mr. LeBeau. They are part of humanity. They are not part of the Celestials' plan.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, do you know any hits? Another button off screen, and this shows up. You know who these individuals are?
We have a couple run-ins with those guys.
The Kree are one of the most significant interstellar polities within the wider world. The Kree have, for millennia, been in a persisting war with another alien species that with which you may be familiar, the Skrull. Kree, much older. The Kree are much older than humanity by far, and have visited the Earth before in different times for a variety of different experimentations. And it appears that the Kree learned the truth of the Celestials very long ago. And in an older age, Kree scientists using humanity as lab fodder or experimental test subjects tried to recreate the celestial experiments using humanity and a process of unique genesis transform humanity into their own version of Eternals. Their experimentation was unsuccessful and eventually abandoned, but what it led to was the creation of the subspecies of humanity that would become the Inhumans. The Inhumans were more advanced, more physically capable. They shared some of the Eternals' gifts, but not to the same degree. And then, when one of their scientists, a man known as Randak, discovered something left behind by the Kree, object or an element known as Terrigen. Terrigen crystals were found under what the Inhumans called the Great Refuge, but was later known as Atalan. Atalan was the home of the Inhumans, and when they uncovered the Terrigen crystals, they learned that by exposing themselves to the mists, it would unlock dramatic changes, which in some cases would result in powers, if not equal to, then near those shared by the Eternals. In other times, it would result in unpredictable genetic expressions. And he clicks on another button, and where are you? He shows you this.
Ooh.
Terrigen can result in modifications and great power. Terrigen can also result in horrific transformations. And so you see, within this singular subspecies, there is the potential for Eternals, and there is the potential for Deviants. The inhuman culture that developed over time, one of the specialties was genetics. And the genetics that developed were used to screen for anticipated results from exposure to Terrigen. Not always accurate, but it led to careful selection for those who would be exposed so as to avoid unfortunate expressions of the Terrigenesis process. I bring this to your attention because the Inhumans, while being similar to the results of the celestial experiments, they are truly the result of other alien interference. They are unconnected to the Celestials, and they are not part of that process. The Celestials have never expressed any interest in the Inhumans. They are not part of their process. They are not something for which the host should concern itself. Atalan itself was originally located in the Himalayan mountains. And while the Inhumans had other outposts, several years ago, I was able to assist with the relocating the pollutants that modern industrial processes have created. They were causing problems with the unique genetics of the Inhumans, and so they needed to relocate. And so, yes, we relocated them to the moon. Specifically, an area that I believe some of you, or with which some of you may be familiar. This is an example, guys, of right after Atalan being brought to the moon. I share this so you have an idea of what the streets of Atalan look like and what the population of Atalan looks like. You can see that there are wide varieties of genetic expressions within there. They do not really have the same association with like what a person should look like and what looks different. Everybody looks different, especially if you've been exposed to the Terrigen mists. Reed says he's been relocated. Now, the blue area of the moon is something that all of you have likely been aware of at one point, but Colossus, you have a very specific memory of that. Blue area of the moon is another legacy of Kree experimentation. Kree were brought there, and they created basically a patch of the moon where there is an environment. You can breathe there, you can live comfortably there without the exposure to cold. And Colossus, that is also where you went to try and save Jean Grey's life. That's the ruins of the blue area of the moon. And Colossus, you were last there when Jean Grey died. You fought the Jean, or who you thought was Jean at the time, had manifested as Phoenix, seemingly come back from the dead, and the Shi'ar accused her of destroying a planet and killing all the billions that lived on it. You and the other members of the X-Men at the time, which is unfortunately no one else who was here, you fought in a battle against the Imperial Guard, the super team of the Shi'ar Empire, and you lost. You fought to your very best, and unfortunately, you were defeated, I believe, by the most powerful member of the Imperial Guard and one of the most powerful people anywhere in the Marvel Universe, Gladiator. Effectively, you fought Superman, and the only reason he beat you is because he dropped a mountain on you. You lost. And you thought at the time Jean died. It wasn't until much, much later that you realized that there was a bunch of other crazy stuff that happened. But it's a place that, Colossus, you would have a very visceral memory of. You fought to your very last breath to try and save one of your members of your family, and she died. But Adelan relocated there. Safe place. So, to quickly summarize, the Inhumans are a creation of Kree science, not the Celestial technology, not part of the Celestial experiment. Celestials, while particularly interested in the Deviants, the Eternals, and the success, as they measure it, of humankind, have nothing to do with the Inhumans. So you can imagine my curiosity at finding Atalan entirely encased in a dome of celestial metal. And I'm using an illustration of one of the Celestials here, guys, but what I'd ask you to picture is a dome, massive city-sized dome in the middle of that blue area, but it is all made of this like black and gold glowing metal. Mm-hmm. Possible interest would the Celestials have in encasing the Inhumans here? There is another element to this of which I'm familiar. This, you hit another button. This is a Shomia. Shomia is one of the successors to Lemuria, a hidden mountain city of the Deviants, legacy of the Deviant Society. Shomia was unfortunately burned to the ground in the 17th century by Isaac Newton, no less. In the time since, it had re-established itself as a viable deviant city with well over 2 million inhabitants. My recent scans show none. Deviants gone. It piqued my interest. While the Deviants are not a general concern of mine, I checked in on 2 other of their cities. They have very old technology and have continued to be innovative. Though they may, to the casual eye, look what some would think is monstrous, they are as brilliant as any other. They have as many geniuses among their number as we do. This is one of their subterranean cities. I estimated the population at 1.5 million. None remain. And within South America, 3 million deviants. None remain. This appears a recent development I do not know what the cause is for this, and sadly, there are other matters that require the attention of the Fantastic Four. But I think it's not a coincidence that there are two elements of the Celestials' interference with humankind that seem to have unexpected developments. I don't know why the Celestial metal would seal the Inhumans, or even whether the Inhumans themselves. Boltagar, Black Bolt, as you may know him, has taken at times extreme measures to keep himself and his people safe from wider humanity. But I'm not aware of him having any access to celestial technology. Indeed, there is really only one individual that I know of who has regular access to, has for millennia, actual celestial technology. And you guys would all know him. Reed says the ship that Ansabanur, I suppose he is now truly Apocalypse, the ship that he has access to is... Oh, can you guys hear me?
I
It's
think
like the micros keep
just
feeding out.
cleaned up.
Oh, was it? Is it breaking up now, or is it still clear?
It's better now.
Yeah, it's fixed now.
It was more of a mic and a fishbowl effect for a moment.
Oh, weird. I mean, I guess I should put my fishbowl down. What he says is Ansabanur at some point somehow gained access to celestial technology, a ship and an apparatus left behind to monitor the progress of their project. And what you guys would know is, imagine a giant gray brick that is about 1.5 miles long. That is the ship that Apocalypse has used in past. Apocalypse's armor as well is celestial technology. He has also used celestial technology in past to alter others, in particular a 19th century geneticist named Nathaniel Essex that you may know better as Mr. Sinister. I do not know, this is Reed speaking once again, I do not know whether Apocalypse is responsible for this. He is the only individual of which I'm aware that has access to the full use of the Celestials' technology. And I am aware that knowing of the Celestials and knowing of their process, I suspect that Apocalypse's embrace of survival of the fittest, of course that is thousands of years younger, that phrase, than Ansabanur himself. His beliefs in having mutants succeed over humanity, it may relate to the pending assessment by the host to show that mutant kind is worthy of existence and that the other strains are not. So that is why I have brought this problem to you. Truth told, the scale of this would be something I would refer to the Ultimates. They cannot respond. I have no direct evidence that Apocalypse is involved with this. I have no other names to point to explain this common connection between a creation of the Celestials and the Celestials themselves. And on a personal note, I am concerned for Voltagar and his people. I appreciate that this, Mr. Summers, is a heavy task I have laid upon you. If there is anything further to be learned from Shomia, Shomia was the most developed of the deviant communities. I think you may find there something that will point us in the direction of what is going on with them, and would ask that you consider how to access Atalan. I am not aware of any means that I have to pierce celestial steel or metal. I've also consulted with Tony Stark. He has no idea. I think Pym suggested just throwing Pym particles at it. I think it best not to see what happens when we introduce that. Having a clear course of action. That may be something. Havoc is actually something that comes to mind for you. And it's from when you were part of Unity Squad. You whisper something to you, Jeff. Hold on here, Havoc. Yeah, there we go.
Oh. It does occur to me that Thor had found a way at some point.
Reed says, really? How? And
that would be a question for Thor.
It's something Thor was part of Unity Squad. And one of the things you knew is at the time he was part of Unity Squad, he was deeming himself as unworthy. And as such, he did not wield Mjolnir, the hammer that he typically did. And he returned to something that he used in older times. An enchanted axe called Yarnbjorn. Yarnbjorn was not made of Uru metal, but it was actually, I shouldn't say, I really don't know what it was made from, but Thor first used this when he faced an unknown adversary back in the 11th century. At that time, he faced someone who you guys would later know as Apocalypse. Apocalypse, he faced him and he found himself unable, even with the enchanted axe, to pierce it. And so Thor further enchanted Yarnbjorn with his own lifeblood.
Oh.
With the blood of a god placed on the axe, he was able to break through the celestial metal that formed Apocalypse's armor. Sadly, you do not have any pints of Thor blood
No.
kicking around right now. Nor do you have any leftover leftover blood from any other god.
God.
Falling out of my back pocket.
Yeah.
In another gods at times, some of the ones we know, Ares, Thor, Valkyrie, Hercules, they have adventured alongside many of us, whether as part of the Avengers or otherwise. They are all gone. It is not unusual for the gods to be called off for other tasks. They all seem to be gone. The only thing I can offer is, and Havoc, you see Forge places a box in front of you. Opens up, and it is a blonde ponytail that has been cut, tied together with a strand, and it's otherwise a lock of hair.
Oh,
This is Thor's hair.
of course. Of course. You would have that.
So, while we do not have his blood, perhaps something can be made of this. Now, there's a great deal of information. I feel is critical is accessing Atalan and learning the fate of the Inhumans. That is critical. Understanding if there is a connection, and every moment we delay in seeing that dome, we may find ourselves, the Inhumans may further be at risk. Not knowing what is within is certainly a risk, and the mutant genome, as you know, does not react well to exposure to Terrigen. You guys would all know that exposure to Terrigen mist is kind of like poison gas to mutants.
Right.
There are some of you who will be fine. Colossus, in your organic steel form, it's not a concern for you. Iceman, you're made out of fucking ice. So not a concern for the others. The others, it could kill you.
Yikes.
Terrigen mist has run rampant there. There is a concern that you may be exposed. I can provide materials or suits made of unstable molecules, will allow you full range of your powers, but keep you fully hermetically sealed. So that is not a concern, but it may pollute the blue area of the moon, which is otherwise habitable for all human subspecies. The question I have for you, the task I have for you, what do you do first? Investigate the deviants missing, try and determine why that is the case. Do you access the dome? Oh, Mr. Summers, we haven't told them the plan, have we?
No.
There's a reason that we brought the 5 of you together. Mr. Summers and I have concocted a plan for piercing the celestial metal. Mr. LeBeau, your mutant powers allow you to molecularly agitate objects that you touch.
If that's your
Can
way
lead...
to blow things up, you got it right.
Mr. Drake, you have the ability to reduce temperatures down to, if not at, then near absolute zero.
Indeed.
Mr. Summers' gift is related to plasma, superheated material. Colossus, in your steel form, you are nearly indestructible. You're muted. Hello?
Hydrate.
No.
Oh, you're still muted. Did you mute yourself on the call, maybe? Oh, got it. There you go.
Okay. Sorry about that.
You are indestructible.
Nearly, he said.
And Mr. Beaubier, you have the ability to move at speeds that even exceed Pietro Maximoff, Quicksilver, super speed. Ben tells me, Mr. Rasputin, that you and Logan have a favored maneuver that you enjoy. I think he calls it the fastball special. And Peter, Robert, if you don't know, that is he picks up Wolverine and he throws him at people. It is a signature ability. Mr. Rasputin, how would you feel being on the receiving end of a fastball special? Theory we have, and it will require a very careful timing and careful use of all of your abilities. If Mr. LeBeau agitates a section of the celestial metal and then simultaneously it is superheated and super chilled by the powers of Mr. Summers and Mr. Drake simultaneously, and at that moment, if Mr. Rasputin is delivered by a fastball special carried by Mr. Beaubier, and if you sheathe your fist in those locks of hair, a super speed attack at a section that is both being detonated, superheated, and super chilled may open a gap large enough for you all to enter.
That's a lot of ifs.
It's a great number of ifs. It will also require Mr. Beaubier to use his ability to move all of you inside before the shockwave strikes you.
I no longer have a question.
Past experience, we also know that the celestial metal has a restorative property. If this is like that on the Celestials themselves, that gap may seal behind you. It is a
double knack.
That is a, for those who are not Canadian, that is a perfect Quebecois curse. So, this is, of course, a theory. We do not know whether this will be successful, and it is quite possible that your organic steel form, Mr. Rasputin, will not survive the impact. But we do not have another means of accessing, not at present, We fear that time is of the essence.
Let's go.
I will be, while I'm still here and not in the negative zone, I will be happy to answer any further questions, but have you any questions now? Mr. Summers or any of your team?
I was worried about being blown up in the thing because I have to touch things to blow them up, but teleportation answered that one. I'm good.
It would be super fast or ultra fast transportation, technically, Mr. LeBeau.
Whatever gets me away from the explosion.
I will leave that to Mr. Bobier. Any questions?
Mr. Bobier tugs on his collar.
Yeah.
No pressure, eh?
Thank you for your time. Thank you for undertaking these tasks. And when you have a moment, Forge and Mr. Summers, I would appreciate updates. I have given access to the Fantastic Four's archive. Any information we have on the Inhumans, the Eternals, the Deviants, and the Celestials will be at your disposal. I expect you have better records and better information on En Sabanur than what I do. Thank you all, and I will look forward to hearing the outcome of your efforts. The thing goes away, and you guys are left looking out into space, down at the Earth from Damocles' base.
Dun, dun, dun.
So,
That's some kind of view.
Havoc, Mr. Summers,
Yes.
that is what your team has been tasked with. You guys can decide how best to do this. Do you gather intel from... you have been given a Shomia, but any of those other deviant places, you can freely access them as well and conduct whatever investigation you want. Sabanur has not been seen in recent years. So, since the Krakoa project was undertaken, he has been largely silent, which is very much unlike Apocalypse. He returns again and again and again. Alex, you may question yourself. In the modern era, do you know what team first encountered Apocalypse?
No, I don't. Jeff doesn't.
Factor.
Oh, of course.
So, do you, the players, have any questions about the hour-and-a-half info dump that you just sat through?
I was enjoying every minute of it. It was
We
great.
need to set the table for
That's
this.
fantastic.
Yeah. For the,
Yeah. No questions on my end other than could we take a quick break?
Why don't we take our 5-minute or mid-session break right now, guys, and we'll come back and see what you plan on doing next. So for those listening at home, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. I'm going to
I
put
didn't mean to cut anybody else off.
No, that's perfect. It's a good time to step away, think about it, and then see how you guys want to do. I'm going to put down, unmute yourself.
You want to tell us more again?
Okay, so for those listening at home, back in 5 minutes.
Kev, can you put the name of this place in chat?
Name of the place, sorry?
Zomia or whatever it is. Sorry. Where the people went missing that...
Oh, the Deviant City?
Yeah.
Shomia.
Oh. Shomia. Oh, man, yeah.
I can bring you over.
I totally did not write that anywhere close to correctly.
Which, in the top, it should be in the top left there. It's got the name of the Deviant City right there.
Oh, on that screen, yeah.
This is before Isaac Newton burned it to the ground.
Oh, isn't that the place where we would investigate what happened to the...
Yeah, sure. Like, it was burned to the ground, but it was rebuilt. Like the city...
Oh, okay, yeah.
The Deviants, unfortunately, do not have... they don't have a lot of options for where to relocate themselves. They're viewed as monsters by the rest of mankind. They also have some of the worst fucking rulers. Like, they have... there's a church that is led by this awful deviant priest named Gar. They've had a warlord leader named Crow who's constantly trying to fight with the Eternals. Like, imagine that you're the species where, like, because not all of the deviant expressions are beneficial. It includes, like, awful, horrible fucking things. How do you have a culture, a society, a language, even when people's faces and vocal boxes and, you know, physical capabilities are different with every child, not only every generation?
Right.
That's what the Deviants were left with as a legacy of the Celestials. The Eternals became gorgeous, like, nuclear-powered gods. Right. So, unsurprisingly, there's a little bit of tension between the two. And when the second host returned and Lemuria was sunk beneath the waves, they didn't do anything to the Eternals. So, kind of an entire species of, like, less favored child is one way of viewing the Deviants.
Yeah.
And while we're waiting for Shaden to get back, one thing I thought I would mention is that there's a couple of you who have very personal connections to Apocalypse. In particular, Remy and Bobby. Remy, because he transformed you into one of his horsemen at one time, using his own genetic abilities and using his celestial technology. Remy was transformed into, I believe it was Death. Apocalypse across the ages has had traditionally as his, like, key henchman, although that, like, underplays how powerful these things are, is the Four Horsemen. And those are war, death, pestilence, and famine. They don't track to the biblical ones, but those are the four horsemen. And there's been a variety of mutants or transformed people or whatnot who have served in those roles. But Gambit, what it means is that your whole body and self were transformed by him into an implement of his will. You have recovered, thankfully, since, but that's the level of violation that you would have gone through. And Bobby, I mentioned that Apocalypse first appeared in X Factor. That was when the team was you, Cyclops, or Scott Summers, Angel, Warren Worthington, the Beast, Hank McCoy, and Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, having returned from the dead, seemingly. The five of you made the original X Factor team. One of Apocalypse's agents, Mr. Sinister, who I mentioned, Nathaniel Ethics, he was responsible for Warren losing his wings. Warren's mutant ability was he had wings and he had a physiology that was adapted for flying, high altitude, and things like that. Some of Sinister's agents pinned him to a wall with metal harpoons that led to the removal of his wings. And then Warren, in a moment of grief and whatnot, seemingly tried to kill himself flew himself up in his private jet and exploded. Turns out he was being manipulated by Apocalypse, who took Warren and using celestial technology implanted. Yeah, there you go. That's the original X Factor team right there.
Yeah, that's issue 1.
I think it's either 6 or 7 is when Apocalypse is introduced, although he has a first appearance apparently in the background of another comic. It's either Marvel Fanfare or something else. But in any event, what you know is that he took Warren, who was one of the, there it is, that's Death.
Yeah,
he made him into one of his horsemen.
Yeah.
He implanted metal, organic metal wings that could throw razor blades. He took Warren, who was a generous, life-loving brother of yours, an older brother. You could think of Warren as like, because he's rich, he's gorgeous, and he's super fucking friendly. So this is like your best older brother, and Bobby was the youngest of all the X-Men. Partly why he was such an idiot and such a clown. Apocalypse killed Warren and brought him back as something much worse. Warren has lived with that for the rest of his life. He's made progress in that time since then, but it ruined your older brother's life. So the two of you have, while Apocalypse is obviously a threat and whatnot, the two of you would have a more personal connection to Apocalypse and more reasons for animosity against him, shall we say. But again, not to say that Apocalypse is involved with this. Rita's only speculating, and surely the title of our series, Apocalypse Agenda, is a red herring. So,
and Reed's classically wrong about most things.
he is,
That's really-
yeah. All I can say is don't go on any road trips with him, because... So, this leaves the 5 of us. Forge says, if you need anything else, Alex, you know where to find me. I'll leave you to plan. He leaves. 5 of you looking down at that fragile world in a sword-shaped, time-traveling spaceship.
Yes.
Awesome.
What do you guys make of what you've learned? What do you plan on doing?
Well, as I see it, we have a monumental task here.
Just like every other Thursday, huh?
Yeah. Well, when Scott asked me to be a part of this, he certainly did not hint at the scope of the trouble. I think we should begin at Ashomia and see what we can learn there.
I agree. I'd rather do some stuff that doesn't potentially trap us behind a wall of unbreakable material.
Well, and going in informed is probably our best strategy here.
Well,
It is a mountaintop city, so you're going to want to account for the cold. Bobby, any thoughts on that?
I love the cold.
the rest of us have to wear parkas, Bobby.
Since you have control over it, and Bobby is one of the most, you may not look at to or think it to look at him, he's one of the most powerful mutants on the planet. You could actually use your mutant powers to control the ambient temperature to get it to like bearable temperatures as opposed to, exposed on the top of a mountain. What do you think the rest of you is?
In other words, shorts weather for Pete.
Pete definitely could go, yeah, you're going to have no problems with it. So this is... I wanted to include both kind of a bird's eye view of this and also an idea of what the street level looks like. Because Adelan, honestly, doesn't look much... It's similar to this. It's very Kirby-esque in design. So... we see our heroes transported down. What do we see? What condition do you think everybody is in? I'm going to put you. here, I guess.
I mean, personally, I always love the like wearing your normal like costume with like some kind of nice fluffy parka over
it,
like a fur hood and a
with the X on the X patch.
Yeah, clearly branded winter jackets that we have access to.
Okay.
Spent so much on these costumes, it'd be a shame not to show them off.
So when you initially arrive, you can imagine like it's just like catch your breath. Those of you who have lived in any, really, really cold environments.
Oh yeah.
Catch your breath, kind of like, struggling to get it. And then Bobby, you with your powers, you're able to bring it down to a comfortable like -10 Celsius for this. What's the plan here, guys? This is a city of, he said, close to 3 million. So you can imagine it has that like ancient but also lived in feel. It has the look of people having just stopped what they're doing. There's trash in the streets. There's what passes for vehicles in here. There is no like other animals or whatnot. It indeed appears to have been utterly razed of any kind of life. There isn't any sign of destruction, obviously, here. What are you guys gonna do? Please feel free to take advantage of your mutant powers. So, like, also, if you take a look at your traits are the things that may give you, if you've got like effectively what would be like a skill, that's how this game manages those. So if you've got like a pilot or thief or something like that, it's probably going to be under there.
I think first we should determine if they, physically fled, like dropped what they were doing and left, or if they vanished, where they stood. Because that might give us a hint here on what happened.
Have they got like aircraft or spaceships or any sort of air transport?
They do. Yeah.
Ah.
You go and check out if they're still there, or if they've got some sort of landing pad, or.
Yeah.
There are, if you go there, what you would find is that there are still in kind of like there's not a lot left, because like one of the things with the deviants is because they're sort of the outcast of the 3 subspecies, they've had to sort of rely on stuff that they used to have at the height of their empire. So there's a little flying, like, see those flying craft you see in the background of that image? That's what you would see in there. And one of them is crashed to the ground. You take a look, it does seem as if it's fairly recent too. Or at least in contrast, it's not been sitting here in a ruin for a time. And it looks like it would be on like the landing platform.
So it looks like they might have tried to evacuate in some way, or at least some of them.
This is having landed. Look at crashed, landed, coming in.
So it's brought down.
If you look around at the vessel, there's no obvious. There's damage, obviously, from it crashing into the ground. There's no energy strikes. There's no damage from projectiles. Doesn't look like it was shot down necessarily. It definitely crashed. Does anyone have any trait relating to like mechanics or anything like that?
Not I.
I mean, I actually have a flaw that references me being Tony Stark, but I don't think that's.
I think somebody has piloting, don't they?
I have piloting.
If you check inside,
I think
you're able to run a bit of a diagnostics, thanks to some, reference from Reed's, repository on the deviant language. There's been no engine failure either. This crashed. If it, and Havoc, you would be able to, I think, extrapolate this. If a plane crashes, there's no mechanical problem, and there's no issue with it being shot down? What's the cause of the crash?
The pilot is gone, or
Missing pilot.
This vessel has safety restraints in it.
Yeah.
They're still attached.
Yeah.
Nobody in there. And by attached, I mean like clasped shut.
Yeah. So this would lead me to believe that something vaporized or teleported them right where they stood.
Would you give us? Anyone have any investigation related things? I think I can't remember if anyone does have this. If not, you can feel free to give us a. Let's see here. One thing I do love about the game. So the first Marvel RPG was the TSR game that had the phase rip abilities. It's called the phase rip game by some people because of the phase rip is the first initial for each of the things: fighting, agility, strength, endurance, reason, intuition, psyche. Phase rip. This game, Marvel. Melee, agility, resilience, vigilance, ego, and logic, spelling out Marvel. I think that's a really clever and a nice nod to the older game too. Vigilance. Who would like to give us a vigilance check, please? And I think we'll pick one person, and you can roll that with 2 edges, with all of you looking together. Who's got the best vigilance?
I've got a 4.
I have a 3.
5.
I'm a 3 as well. Ooh, Bobby.
Yeah.
I mean, give us a vigilance check with 2 edges.
Nice.
You're rolling non-combat. Nice. And edges work on a 1-for-1. You can click on one edge and then use another edge. Okay. Fucking
Like
huge.
that.
So you may want to fish for that marble.
Yeah, I'll just fish the Marvel.
Still, 21 is pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
So there is something curious here. In the seat, you sort of go down. There is a bit of a powdery residue that is left behind. And this place seemed to have the door was open, but this is probably one of the most sheltered environments in Ashomia that you've seen so far. It looks like there's some kind of powdery residue left on the seat.
Interesting.
Do we have any scientists in the group?
No,
Not among you guys, I don't believe, but
It's
I'm
a far,
like a geologist.
it's a far cry from the guard.
Yeah.
if you want a pretty face, I got you covered, but that isn't my forte.
I mean, with a 21, you could take a sample and then have it analyzed back at Damocles' base.
Take it back, maybe.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't have anything that we could just kind of like quick sample this and call Mr. Richards and be like, hey, look what we found.
I think that it's reasonable that when you guys came down, you would have, if not Reed giving you stuff, Forge would have given you some basic stuff. So I think you could give some basic scan of this.
Okay.
This is organic residue.
Yeah.
It's not people dust, is it? Because that would be disgusting.
People dust.
It's
I pull out a handkerchief and put it over my nose. I don't want none of that in my lungs.
Wow. I suggest we maybe move to that big central building, see if we find any more of this stuff. And even if it didn't happen all at once, they might have tried to communicate or send message out to someone.
Right.
An SOS. Computer, something.
So what you are able to do is when you get inside the central structure, you do find more. I think those of you with more keen eyes, you can find little patches of the similar chalky powder, and it's in the hallways, it's in chairs, it's in beds, it is on stairwells. It's as if something just rushed through and annihilated whatever was here. Scans would confirm all of it as organic residue.
So less taking out the garbage is annihilating. This is an atrocity.
When you get to the sort of like community comm center, as it were, for it, because the deviants would have a way of communicating with other things. There's two things that are of interest to you. One of them is that there's no sign of any like open comm where someone was trying to make an emergency call, which would mean what, one of maybe two things.
It was instant across the entire place, or they jammed it or blocked it or stopped communication.
That's the other thing. There is a I think none of you are necessarily tech experts, but what you can tell is when Gambit, in particular you can tell when something's been taken. Mr. X Thieves Guild. And you can tell that there are...
Wait. X Thieves Guild? I still have very good connections.
It's clear that some aspects of the comm unit, whatever sort of memory units that it would have, whatever sort of records it would have, it's actually been removed. And if you check the sort of central computer part of it, the deviant internet, if you will, it likewise has been removed.
Stranger and strange.
I think we should check if it was just the deviants themselves or their pets and animals that were also vaporized at the same time.
Right.
If there's some kind of genetic targeting element here or just a broad spectrum wipe.
What you would find is frozen. Whatever happened here, after it happened, either someone shut down or there was some other thing that affected the environmental controls. So in a similar way to the way Bobby is mitigating the impact of being on the top of a fucking mountain, there was deviant technology that allowed to mitigate that. That seems to have either been shut down or been destroyed. And you would find livestock frozen, pets frozen. It's not everything organic that was eliminated. There is just no sign of any of the deviants here.
John Paul's brain is being triggered in regards to the conversation from Mr. Richards, where he mentioned the vanishing, I suppose, for lack of better words, with the other two cities as well. Is there any way for us to perhaps, I know this is a bit very large scale, but like timestamp the organic matter that we're finding to perhaps eventually match it to see if the timelines are matching up?
Yeah, you could. What you could do is take the samples from here and compare them to samples from elsewhere, and perhaps that might be. You'll need access to the labs on Damocles base, but Forge and some of the other more clever mutants, Kid Quantum could be tasked with this. Or unfortunately, Richards has got a hot date with the negative zone, so he's not going to be able to help with this. But there are certainly brilliant people. Hank is a brilliant biochemist. So Hank McCoy, the Beast, he could also assist with that, probably.
What about the? Go
Go ahead, Darren. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, what about the central computer? Does it show errors where something was removed, or when the comms went down, or the hard drive, or systems went offline that we could use as a timestamp or a date or something?
So none of you are experts in the deviant technology, or even like high technology for that matter, but you certainly know enough to know that it's the memory core that's effectively been taken from here. So somebody either took it with them when they left, or has come subsequently and taken it. Remy, you know that tomb robbing is a long and proud tradition here.
There's no record of it sort of anywhere in the system.
If it was the part of the system that would store all of that, that's what was taken.
It's on it. Yeah. Okay.
But JP, make an interesting point, and I imagine it would drive him fucking crazy for anyone to call him JP.
Well,
I don't know what is it about speedsters, but
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
His slender, singular right eyebrow raises. Yes.
So one of the things you make an interesting point about the other cities. If you've got a deviant flying vessel, where are you going with it? Deviants don't intermingle with humanity. If you've got a flying vessel that's coming, where the heck's it coming from?
Another deviant city, potentially.
I feel like that's too simple, too obvious.
If you take a look at the markings, Havoc, there are similar markings. While the vehicles are going to be different because you've got thousands of years of development and modifications and shit like that. Although the technology is largely stagnated, I guess, as well. You're going to see that everything in the hangar has a singular marking, one singular marking. You know to look for call signs when you find them, right?
Right.
The crash vessel has different markings.
So maybe there was some advanced warning.
Or they were trying to get the advanced warning to them and run out of time.
Well, what I mean is that enough that this ship left the other. Maybe they came back and found.
Or perhaps we're
came
already
here to warn. Yeah.
Already away. Come back and thought I better warn, or go somewhere else.
I suppose if we find matching markings on the ships in the other cities, then that would suggest another planet? ?
Are there
We don't.
two other cities? Is that correct?
There's two other cities that have missing. Yeah, there's one in South America, and there is one underground in central Russia.
Right. Because we're not tech savvy enough to be able to try and scan the flight logs on this ship to see where it was coming from? ?
Oh, that's interesting. You could.
Yeah, let's try.
Sure. So you're going to have to be fumbling along through this, but Havoc, Alex, give us a logic check. We'll give you an edge because of your flight experience. And that's either a fantastic success or a fantastic failure.
Let's re-roll this one and see.
Come on, big money.
Oh,
14. Okay. So to give you a sense of difficulties, rank 4, the average challenge is 14. Now you could spend a point of karma to roll with edge. You roll another edge if you like.
Yeah. Is that how do we get karma? Oh, we get them every session.
Start each session with 4, your number equal to your rank, and then
yeah, let's do it.
This wouldn't be an instance where I could use my reaction to give him an edge, right?
Can you click on your power?
Yes, it's called Change of Plans.
It costs focus too, doesn't it? Yeah, 5
Oh
focus.
my goodness.
Check out the trigger. So for all of your reactions, they're going to have a trigger to them.
Okay.
That'll tell you whether you can use or not. He doesn't have trouble on a check, so.
Oh, okay.
My original roll was a 1, a 1, and a 2. I re-rolled the 1. It was a 2. I re-rolled the 2. It was a 3.
That brings it to your 14, which is an average thing. So what you can find on here is that the flight data, it has been accessed and it has been downloaded, but it still shows that this originated from the city in South America.
Well, let's head there next then, I think.
Yeah.
Also shows was under autopilot and was coming in for landing.
Oh.
So this could have happened on the way.
Right.
Have you said that you said that it crash landed though? I was like, would we have any idea if the autopilot should have been able to land it successfully?
It's difficult to say. The technology is extremely advanced technology, but it's also really fucking old. And in a vessel that could conceivably date back to the second host.
Okay.
So, like, it's... I wouldn't want to, if it was technology that was new and refurbished, then maybe, but deviants have to kind of make do with what they've got. So it could very well be just poor maintenance. The other thing is that the landing platform here, this place was razed to the ground several centuries ago. So the information, and then rebuilt, the information that was in the flight logs may have been... just out of date. So
Right.
it didn't plow into the side of a mountain, so like there's that. It just seemed to crash. And this is not the kind of, like, no vessel would automatically pop open. You guys found this with the door open, which means somebody must have opened that door. Fortunately, the platform was then also exposed to the elements, so if there was any similar, like, residue left behind there, it's all gone. But
So if the door was opened afterwards, it's possible that it could have been done by somebody in the... somebody got out. Somebody wasn't affected, at least initially, and that's possibly the person who did it or triggered it.
I'm also thinking maybe whoever was in South America has sent something here, and when they opened it, it did whatever it did to this whole city.
Think like some kind of robot?
Well, if it was autopilot,
Right.
and they didn't use the seatbelts or whatever.
No, they did use the seatbelts. The seatbelts look like people were in them when they
But they're still...
disintegrated.
they were this pilot's chair. The thing you would put on to secure yourself was latched.
So I wonder why it was on autopilot, other than if that was just routine landing procedure.
Yeah.
Remy, what's one thing that a good thief needs to bear in mind when looking to repurpose other people's goods? If you have to enter someone else's home.
Well, you got to avoid witnesses for sure, but it's also how secure and locked up the place is. Can't steal if you can't get in.
You think it is wise to store your security information in the same place you store all your other information, or would it be wise to have redundancies?
It's very true. I'm no computer expert, but we know the layout well enough to find a.
So you're looking around at what you see here, and while much of it to the layman's eye would be like stone and whatnot, there is a lot more to the technology here than at a glance you would. This isn't simple stone buildings. These are very complex, technologically advanced, although aged technology. Where do you think you might find some information like that? Yeah, but...
Like a secured bunker or something like that, and somewhat deep in the facility.
Would you like to give us a vigilance check? Do you have any traits that would apply here?
I don't believe I do.
Are you satisfied with that? Want to get some karma on edge?
Spend a karma.
Got it. What do you want to re-roll?
I'm going to try to get that one higher. 16.
This one, he's really giving you guys the juice today. So looking around, what I guess in the fiction, what would the rest of the team see Remy doing?
His eyes would be like roaming over the facility, looking for anything out of unusual, extra foot traffic, or some place with more fences than normal. And he's like, I think it's that.
So Remy seems to have identified that there may be a secret entrance accessing somewhere in the main citadel, a place that there's enough space for there to be another room that you guys have yet to actually search. But with the central computer down, the power is going to be down in here. How are you going to get through a solid stone wall?
Well, you see Gambit pull out some lock. He's like, normally these be really good, but that can blow up the wall. So stand back.
Everyone okay with that?
Colossus can punch it.
Yeah, Colossus is like, I have a better idea, and he goes over and he just punches.
So yeah, if you
he's a little bit by the way, he's been quiet because the scale of this is a little overwhelming, and he's just imagining. He doesn't know if people had time or not to know what was about to happen, and he's really hoping that they didn't. So he's a little bit on the somber side, but as soon as he can find something to do, it's more like, yeah, he knows Gambit could get through, and maybe there's some disadvantages to the way Gambit's trying to get through, but he really just wants to do something. He just wants to punch something at this point to release some of the tension that's building up in him.
So we're opting for percussion instead of fireworks. Take out your aggression.
Yeah.
So, what do we see as Colossus? Like, there is an actual door, and there's like, once you smash through, you could easily kind of pull the false wall back.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what he does. He basically punches initially to get his fingers through the door so it can grab, and then he just peels it like a cat food.
Okay. Doors pulled open, and what you can find is the what would effectively be like the security office or the internal policing office or whatever. Unsurprisingly, there is a secret police among the deviants.
Any signs of organic dust floating around in here?
There is.
Good, Jeff.
You also find that there is a station that apparently monitors the entire population.
Not very trusting, these deviants.
From what Reed's briefing suggested, the deviants, in addition to the whatever other misfortunes they may have had in their long history, they've been ruled by some of the worst fucking rulers. Tyrants, zealots, and always throwing their population into war. It does appear that the security is intact here.
Is there any recordings of like CCTV type cameras?
There is. If you flash to just any general notice, the panel on the right there, give you an indication, millions of deviants going about their lives.
And can we try and identify when, people just disappeared or what happened? Speeding through the days.
Yeah, if you sort of scroll through with some effort, you're able to scroll through to what date would you like to start with?
Did Reed give us any idea of dates or?
He's not sure. He doesn't monitor them, in part because they have ways of concealing themselves, and their technology is very old.
I mean, should we just flash back, I don't know, how far back does it go? A month? Weeks?
With this kind of technology, you can easily review years worth of footage. So
if we go back a month and just look at one camera of a busy location,
with some skipping back and forth, what you're able to find is that it seems that it's around 2 months ago when the event happened. You sort of imagine seeing streets full of different people, and then suddenly ghost town.
Yeah.
So
2 months ago.
can we tune it into the day and actually see people disappear, or just keep jumping?
You find is that you're able to basically and you can imagine you've got your multiple screens as drawn by Jack Kirby in this, with lots of excess kind of guilting and stuff on it, and what you're able to view through that is the tracking of this ship coming in, and it seems to crash in there. Members of the crew access the thing. There's actually people who went in to try and save it. There was an emergency response crew that went to try and save the pilot. They open the door. They do not appear to come out, and it takes a little bit of kind of looking around, but you can almost see it as it's moving its way out from this. There's some kind of reaction that occurs in a flash. People, their clothes, whatever they're carrying is just consumed in a single flash of light. And it just moves out like an invisible wave from this thing. Until the entire thing, entire city, is utterly empty. It looked like it was about another month before the environmental features failed, and that's when all the livestock and pets and everything else perished. It's been sitting here freezing for 2 months, give or take.
So it really was an instant.
It's not clear what it is, but there is something of interest as you're sort of fast forwarding through. About a week, maybe 10 days ago, there's a single green thing that Remy, I think with your eyes, hey, what was that? Play that back. It takes you a couple of tries to finally get a good angle on this. But you are able to identify who has come in and taken the memory core from the main computer and the other communications information.
Oh.
It appears he arrived. He was here long enough to conduct an investigation of the facility. He seems to have used some of his devices. Those of you who are familiar with Dr. Victor von Doom, Doom is the ruler of a Eastern European country called Latveria. He is one of the most accomplished scientists on the planet, rivaling Reed Richards' technical expertise. He is also a sorcerer who, while not rivaling Stephen Strange, surpass anyone less than the Sorcerer Supreme. He is also utterly merciless. Utterly. He does have one soft spot. Mom. Two, I should say. Reed and Sue's daughter, who he gave the name to, Valeria. Very close with her as well. It's not clear what Doom's purpose was here. After the event occurred, he seems to have, from the video, done exactly what you guys just undertook. Thorough investigation of this. His apparatus, his technology and whatnot was used to examine here, and he took some of his, he had accompanied by a group of robots later in his thing. There are two kinds of robots, broadly speaking, he uses. There are Doom bots, which look just like him and replace him in some circumstances. And then he has other robots, which I don't have an image of, that are vaguely humanoid in shape. It's the latter that he brought in to help. They're the ones who removed many of the things, samples of the organic material. Yeah, there's no other indication from the footage of what Doom did, but it does appear that he took the memory core with him.
So, I suppose this mission's important enough that maybe we should consider calling him up, see if he wants to share anything. He's obviously 3 steps ahead of us. Anybody got his number?
Very funny, Remy.
No? Okay. We do things the hard way.
Always.
What do you guys make of it? What is Doom's interest in Ashomia?
I think that, he's a bad guy. If they're interested, either he's connected, or something big is threatening everyone and he's taking steps to solve it or protect himself.
That is one other significant character trait that I did not mention, is Doom's arrogance. Canonically, Doom has the scar on his face, had a minor scar on his face because Reed noticed an error in Doom's calculations for a device that he was intending on using while they were both in college together. Doom refused to listen, used the device, which killed one guy and left him with a minor scar and him expelled from college. He felt that the minor scar was such an affront that he placed a boiling hot plate on his face when his armor was fabricated by some monks, causing hideous disfigurement. Doom listens to no one.
I was going to say, it doesn't seem to tie up that he would have been involved, because surely he wouldn't have waited nearly 2 months before coming to recover the communication data. If he was involved, he would have cleaned that up a lot quicker, I'd have thought. So he may be just investigating like we are.
Fair point.
That's quite true.
He doesn't appear to have left anything behind, although Doom, Remy, leaving a backdoor access to a security system that would only activate when someone else activates it. All the cameras in this city are currently active because you've reactivated the security system.
Mm-hmm. Does he know of our presence?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean,
He might have wanted us to find this.
Remy starts looking around for a business card. He probably left his number somewhere.
So, Doom is somehow involved. Boy, it's a shame that Richards is gone. Reed is what you guys would call him. Richards is what Doom calls Reed.
Hmm. Do you think I should call on my criminal contacts, see if they can get us a word in with Doom? I mean, I have someone's number who might have his number.
So Doom is definitely, he's from the perspective of the international community, a criminal, and in the sense of violating American laws, he's a criminal. But he's not a criminal in the kind of criminal you run circles with. Doom is Doom.
Right.
Oh, so I need connection supervillain. Got it.
Ah.
Okay.
Criminal would be like, Haven or, Kingpin, or anyone who's like wanting to steal something or wanting to whatever. Any of Spider-Man's rogues gallery, for the most part, would all be like criminal contacts for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Doom is not necessarily like that.
Well, let's dance for the man watching, because I'm sure he's watching now, and see if we can get him the information he's obviously wanting us to find for him.
I'm sure you guys have, for the purpose of dramatics, you paused the video at a precise time when Doom's masked figure is dominating one of the security feeds.
I look up at a camera and just go, "Yeah, it's funny."
So, anything further to be learned in Ashomia, you think, guys?
Well, we certainly learned a lot.
Yeah.
I think we got everything we needed from the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Got everything from the security headquarters now.
They're obviously, I'm assuming they've wiped all the drives of everything else, like researches and stuff they might have been doing. So
That would have been centralized, and that's the thing that Doom took.
yeah, figured. So he left us just enough to know what's kind of happening, and then Doom.
Took the juicy stuff.
Yeah.
Without us really being able to contact or get in touch with Doom, I'm kind of curious. My question is, would South America be next? Seeing as how we've kind of determined that's where the ship came from?
There are Latvian embassies all over the place, and Krakoa would have an embassy in Latveria. If you do wish to transport there, Krakoan gates would allow you to go there. It would mean traveling to Latveria or potentially speaking to Doom in one of the other embassies.
Embassy tour? Embassy tour? Embassy tour?
Question Doom? Is that the vote or check out South America?
What I can tell you is, because one of the things that's fun about the game is we can kind of move at the speed of the comics as well. If you guys say wanted to, like, well, let's finish our expedition first, setting aside the fact that you've got a super fast member of your team who can expedite what you're looking for, what I can tell you is if we would see panels of you guys investigating those other two cities, exact same circumstances you found at Ashomia. It appears that it was in terms of sequence of timing, The city under Russia seems to have been the first that was affected. There were transports sent to both the South American city and then also to Ashomia. Both of those had the exact same outcome. Security footage would show the same as well. It appears that the underground one, it first manifested through underground travel. It takes work to look through the materials, but Jamie Madrox is a mutant who was part of the X Factor thing. If you want to have someone do research at home, he can do that. Jamie Madrox's power, when you apply kinetic force, he duplicates into 2 versions of himself. And you can keep doing that, which means however many sets of eyes you need on footage to review it, he can keep adding more and more eyes on that. So if you have the Madrox, research group conducting this stuff up at Damocles base, he would be able to review all of that material and identify where that thing is. Not for nothing, Madrox is also a pretty accomplished investigator. So if we maybe cut back to a scene on Damocles base, you would see one of Jamie is his name, Jamie Madrox, one of Jamie's dupes is reviewing this. I will tell you, it takes a little bit getting used to with a room full of the same person, particularly when that person has a really shitty sense of humor. Although, Bobby, you may get along with Jamie quite well in that sense. Yeah, they're able to pinpoint what they think is where the other person came in, because there is footage of a caravan traveling some of the underground roads. Subterranea is a sprawling place in the Marvel Universe with a bunch of, not just the Deviants, but other lost civilizations that are underneath there. It seems like it was a caravan that brought it in. Where that caravan came from, you could not say.
Right.
But if you were able to access other things, who particularly tracks the the Deviants, and has an interest in the Deviants, and has since the time of the first host, is the Eternals. Icarus is someone you could access. Icarus is effectively the leader of the current sort of iteration of the Eternals. So if there are other cities or other communities of Deviants that are affected, that might be someone to access, although they've been enemies of the Deviants for 1,000,000 years. And they have godlike powers. One of the things that Jamie would tell you is, obviously, when trying to solve a mystery, one of the primary things you want to look at is cui bono, profits.
Right.
From whatever the loss is. The other thing you want to consider, who has a motivation? The Eternals and the Deviants have been fighting each other since the time that your ancestors were apes. There's nobody who would oppose the Deviants more than them, although if they wanted to eliminate them, they certainly have had the power to do so, or seemingly. Did something change, maybe, though? And Jamie is sitting there kind of stroking his chin as he's saying that. Saying, I'm not helping, am I? I'll get back. He turns to one of himself and is like, we should probably leave them to talk. And 3 Jamies walk out of the room. So what do you guys think?
We're gonna go explode that wall they want us to explode.
My curiosity is, why the Eternals and the Deviants might have so much tension and where the connection is with Adelan being encapsulated at the moment. It's not quite connecting my dots at the moment.
Maybe, well, their experiments created a bad, good, and middle ground kind of thing, and maybe they're grew conscious and coming back to fix their mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Celestials?
Yeah.
Celestials didn't create the Inhumans.
No, the Deviants.
Oh. Well, Celestial host is many things, but subtle.
Yeah. Yeah, I do suppose they could just show up, snap their fingers, and take them.
Who's got connections with superheroes?
I think what Gambit does in particular.
Gambit does. Yeah.
I believe I do as well.
Okay.
I do.
Everyone does. Why doesn't everyone give us a logic check with one advantage?
That seems poor.
Logic
Whoa.
is
Whoa.
not my thing.
Okay.
Let's go.
And you're all rolling with edge as well, too. Remember, so what you can...
Did I do that correctly or not?
Ooh, 18. Nice.
Wow.
Don't
Guess I
think I
might as well roll for Marvel. Nope.
Oh, 19.
So remind me, edge means I can
Reroll one.
Yeah.
anyone. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and Jane, you rolled an attack, but it doesn't... we still get to see the result. The result's the same. It also includes a damage modifier.
Okay, gotcha. Oops.
But you can re-roll that one if you'd like as well with edge.
Okay. That's the non-combat column?
Non-combat one, yeah.
Oops. Sorry,
Please.
I keep hitting the button because I don't realize it's happening down here. Okay. Take the first one as my edge reroll.
So remember, edge isn't a free re-roll. You hover over it and... Oh, do you mean... Sorry, Robert, are you saying you rolled edge re-roll a couple times?
About 5 times because I wasn't hearing the bleep sound. So, so just take the top one and my
No, that's good. That's totally fine. Okay, so is 19 our highest roll from Havoc?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Havoc, one of the people you have had the good fortune of meeting over the course of your varied career is the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. Mama Grimm's favorite son, Benjamin J. Grimm.
Oh.
One of the things that you remember him talking about, you guys are talking about, or now that I can't remember who it was it was Northstar was talking about the connection between the Inhumans and the Deviants, and it reminded you of something that Ben had told you about. And that's a fella named Maelstrom.
Mm.
Oh.
Maelstrom's of interest to you because Ben faced him, and he was an enemy of the Inhumans. Ben and the Inhumans, the royal family of the Inhumans in particular, faced him. Maelstrom is of interest for a couple of reasons. One, his father, his name is, I think it's Phaedra. Phaedra was an Inhuman geneticist who was particularly interested in cloning. The Inhumans have a very complex relationship with genetics, as you can imagine, with teragenesis and whatnot. But the idea of cloning was something that was anathema to their genetic council. And so Phaedra was kind of an outcast. And where he found refuge was with the Deviants. He fell in love with a deviant woman, and Maelstrom is their son. Maelstrom is half deviant and half inhuman.
Oh.
He had his own gifts naturally without exposure to Terrigenesis. But he was, over the course of his career, very interested in opposing the Inhumans, the Eternals, and the Deviants.
Ooh. Trifecta.
Of interest too, Phaedra, or Maelstrom, like his father, was a genius geneticist, but he insisted on spreading his knowledge around in the interest of driving up the collective knowledge of it. Some of the people who have benefited from his shared information and that they used for the basis of their own developments include Vladislav Shinsky, a guy who was part of a group known as the Enclave. The Enclave is responsible for creating the entity that would later be known as Adam Warlock.
Oh.
His information was also shared with the man who would become the High Evolutionary. His information was also shared with a man known as Dr. Miles Warren, or Spider-Man knows him, the Jackal, the man responsible for the entire Clone Saga. Was also shared with Arnim Zola, who served the Nazis and became a persisting adversary of Captain America. And finally, Nathaniel Essex, the man who would become known as Mr. Sinister, an ally of Apocalypse. Nothing you've seen points to Maelstrom at present. But if you're looking for an individual who has a connection between the Inhumans, the Eternals, and the Deviants, Maelstrom is unique in that sense.
Right.
Interesting. And where does Maelstrom reside?
Given his father's predilection for cloning, it may not surprise you to learn he has many hidden bases across the planet and many redundant bodies across the planet.
Oh, yes.
He's presently assumed to be dead, but that's been the case many times before.
Of course.
His natural gifts, by the by, are on kinetic energy. He can control and manipulate kinetic energy. It means, from a meta-narrative perspective, he does whatever fucking comic book writers want him to do. He can grow, he can absorb the ability, he can redirect it. He's a super fucking powerful character. He is also pursued relentlessly by effectively the Marvel Universe's equivalent of the Grim Reaper, a force of death known as the Demiurge.
Oh.
Yeah, you gotta really be someone particularly troublesome if death is trying to hunt you down.
Fair enough.
So this leaves you with I guess a decision to make. Are you breaking into Adelan at this point? Are you gathering further information before doing so? Do you meet with Doom? Do you gather further information elsewhere? Do you try and hunt down Maelstrom? Or do you put Reed's plan into practice?
Jean Paul's had a question percolating in his mind since the initial brief. Is there any possibility for us to have contact with the inside of Adelan?
Unable
It's
to.
sealed by that.
Yeah. Nothing gets through the Celestial's metal. So they've got scans are impossible. The only thing that they thought of thus far, knowing that Thor with his lifeblood and a magical thing, was able to shatter that. That's the plan they've got, given what they've got. They're hoping that with all of your powers interlocking or working in collective, you'll be able to do that. But there's still no guarantee of that either. There's also no... This is not the way celestial metal typically forms, too. It's of armor to conceal the celestial being.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question, JP?
I'd say so.
Okay.
As his eyebrow raises again.
I think maybe it's time for Reed's plan.
Then.
Yeah.
If you're all feeling ready.
I'm always ready to blow something up.
Armed and dangerous.
Well, also, Remy, I assume you're also always ready to break in somewhere.
Oh, yeah, that's a foregone conclusion. It's the getting out that's
Excellent.
going to be the fun part.
Then you guys will be traveling to the... And let me show you the current status of the... Did I put anything here? Oh, I
Here we
didn't.
go, though. He did mention that Colossus may not survive the thing. They don't know. Do we need to... Are there any band-aids we can bring for you? Scrap metal?
I don't. What do you expect me to do with that? Eat it?
Oops. I don't know how your powers work. You just go metal.
I haven't had to deal with it before. I don't know how I could regenerate, if at all, using other... I have no abilities to do so myself.
So Colossus, I guess one question. Jean died in the blue area.
Yep.
Are you going to be the second to...
Sorry, the second to die there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another reason he's been a little bit on the somber side, probably. But to be honest, once he discovered what was happening to the deviants, his focus has gone to that.
Then...
He's like he just does what he does, right? He's there to right the wrong.
Yeah. You've, Robert, perhaps unintentionally, you've absolutely nailed Peter's characterization.
Yep.
He is like the long-suffering galoot. That's
Yep.
fucking Pete in a nutshell. So that's
Nice.
great stuff. So this is our last panel then, I guess. You guys heading to the blue area of the moon we wouldn't see the celestial dome in place above Adelan, and what awaits you guys within Adelan, assuming you're able to gain access to that. I guess we'll have to wait, true believers, for next issue. So, for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for part one of our Uncanny X-Factor Tale Apocalypse Agenda, book one. Sorry, the Book of Death is our first chapter of this. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the game, or our mini campaign, please don't hesitate to leave a comment down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. There's also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where all of us are active, and we have channels that are dedicated to most of the games we have on the channel. We don't have a Marvel Multiverse one there, but we do talk about it under the Assorted Games channel. There's also things like Find a Group, GM Discussion, Virtual Tabletop Chat. There's a terrific, helpful, knowledgeable, and friendly community over there. You are more than welcome to join us. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have an incredible selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. Like, for instance, the older Marvel RPGs, whether that's the Phase Rip one, or the card-based one, or the token-based one, or the Margaret Weiss game. You may be able to find that there, and if they don't have something in stock you're looking for, you can put it on a want list, and they'll send you an email when it comes in. If you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code NOBLEDM, all caps, all one word. It's listed down below in the description of this video. That'll save you 10% on any purchase of $10 or more through their website, and that'll change as of March 15, 2026. So if you're listening to this after that time, just come back to one of our more recent videos. You'll see what the current discount code is there. The last thing I will say is a huge thank you to our stalwart heroes. So, Robert, John, Darren, Jaden, and Jeffrey, thank you so much for playing today, guys. Thank you for suffering through an hour and a half of info dump as well, too. I assure you that is the condensed version of my rant. But the stage is set, the Celestial Dome awaits, and the fate of Adelan is yet to be discovered. I also have a map of Adelan that you guys will be able to reference. But we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. Until then, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our Marvel heroes are encountering. Our stalwart merry mutants, I guess, are encountering as they're trying to solve the mystery of the Celestial Dome. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, happy gaming, and as always, make mine Marvel.